In the last class, we have discussed about this cost estimation and cost ascertainment. Now we are going for the elements of cost. Elements of cost are nothing but the important things that we have to learn. When we go for elements of cost, we are having three types of elements. Okay, materials, labor, expenses. And again, materials are divided into two types, direct and indirect. Labor is also divided into two types, direct and indirect, and expenses are also divided into two types, like direct and indirect expenses. Now, here the indirect expenses we can also call them as overheads. Overheads. Now, first of all, when we take into account the indirect expenses, indirect materials, and indirect labor, again they are divided into three types: factory overheads, office and administration overheads, and the third one is selling and distribution overheads. These are the three types that we come across when we go for indirect expenses or overheads. When we go for direct materials, direct labor, and direct expenses, all these things they are very essential when we go for a production process. When you are stepping into production activity. Okay, when we go for this, what are the various components that we come across when we want to find out the cost of a product? Okay, what are the components that we come across? What are the different types of this thing that we come across? Okay, elements or components, whatever it may be. Then we will come across four types of components when before going to calculate the total cost or cost of sales. First one is prime cost. Okay, what is this prime cost? Prime cost is the primary cost that we will come across when we go for a production process. Okay, how you will get this prime cost? Direct materials plus direct labor plus direct expenses. When you add these three things, when you add these three elements, you'll come across prime cost. And after getting the prime cost, you have to go for the second component, that is nothing but factory cost or works cost. Okay, factory cost or works cost is equal to prime cost plus factory overheads or works overheads. That is the second component that we come across. And after the second component, we have to go for cost of production. And this cost of production, we can also call that thing as office cost or administration cost. Anything. So, how this cost of production can be derived? When we take into account the works cost or factory cost, and when we add office and administration expenses or office and administration overheads, you'll come across cost of production. This is the third component that we come across. And after the third component, we are going for the fourth component, that is nothing but cost of sales or total cost. Cost of sales or total cost. That is the last component that we come across. How you will derive this cost of sales or okay total cost? Office and administration cost plus selling and distribution overheads will give you the total cost or cost of sales. And after getting the cost of sales, you have to take the difference between sales as well as cost of sales. So when you come across these differences, it will give you the profit or loss, okay, by doing a production process or by going into this production. The difference between sales and cost of sales is nothing but profit. If sales are more than cost of sales, the difference is treated as profit. And if cost of sales are more than sales, then the difference you have to consider that as loss. So, like this, you will come across when we go for the elements of cost as well as the components of cost. When you are going to find out the profit, when you are going to find out the profit, one thing you have to keep in mind is you can increase the profit. You can increase the profit amount by reducing the cost. That's why the main objective of all the cost accountants is as far as possible we have to reduce the cost. Okay, at minimum cost, whether we can able to maximize the profit amount or not. That is the main motto and main objective of cost accountants. Main motto. That is, if they reduce the cost, automatically they can increase the profit amount. Like that, the cost accountants they will think. And we have to study what are the different types of elements that we come across, and thereby we can be in a position to understand about the components and other things. Direct materials. Okay, directly used materials in the production process, because we are taking from rock stage to cream stage, that is from raw material stage to finished good stage. When we are carrying and when we are calculating the cost, compulsory we have to take into account the direct materials. For example, if you manufacture a cart, if you manufacture a table, if you want to manufacture a chair, the first material that we come across, we use is nothing but direct material, that is nothing but wood. Okay, wood is the direct materials that we come across in whatever shape that we want to do. So direct materials is the first element that we have to take into account. After direct materials, you'll have direct labor. So what is this? This is the second element that we have to take into account. Direct labor. Direct labor means direct person who is involved in the production process or manufacturing process. If you take into account the manufacturing of a table, the carpenter is the direct labor over there. The carpenter, okay, the woodworker or the carpenter, he is the main labor over there. So you have to take into account the second element, that is nothing but direct labor. And after that, direct expenses. Whatever it may be, the expenses that are chargeable to manufacture the product directly, we'll call that thing as direct expenses. Okay, when you want to go for this direct expenses, what expenses that we require to manufacture the product, we'll call that thing as direct expenses. When you take into account the direct materials, direct labor, and direct expenses, these three things, these three elements, when they club, automatically you are going to get the prime cost. Okay, so one by one, I'm reading what is direct material, what is direct labor, and what are direct expenses. It is all that material which can be identified in the product and can be conveniently measured and directly charged to the product. That is nothing but direct material. Okay, how much material is required? How much material is required for construction of a chair? How much material is required for construction of a table? How much material is required? That thing should be identified and correctly, conveniently measured. Okay, conveniently measured. You should not go beyond convenient. You should not think about inconvenient. There is no necessity for you to bring a big wooden block to manufacture a small chair. So, how much material is required? You can be in a position to identify, and you have to take that much. You have to measure that, and you have to take that thing. That is nothing but direct material. Direct labor. It is that labor which can be conveniently identified or attributed wholly to a particular job, product, or process. In other words, it is all labor expended in converting raw materials into manufactured articles or in altering the construction, composition, or condition of the product. How many persons are required? How many persons are required? That thing is nothing but direct labor. When you want to construct a small chair, a small carpentry, that is only one person is required. That is nothing but the carpenter is required. Okay, there is no necessity for you to bring people flying lorries to construct a small chair. So, how much labor is required? How much persons are required to construct a small chair? That thing is you have to take into account. It is that labor which can be conveniently identified or attributed wholly to a particular job, product, or process. Okay, conveniently attributed, identified, and attributed to to a particular job, product, or service, whatever it may be. Now, what are direct expenses? All expenses other than the direct material or direct labor that are specifically incurred for a particular product or process are treated as direct expenses. Apart from direct materials, apart from direct labor, whatever it may be, the expenditure that we require, that thing only we have to take that as a direct expense. All expenses other than the direct material or direct labor that are specifically incurred, specially or particularly, specifically incurred for a particular product or process are treated as direct expenses. Now, after that, we are going for indirect expenses. I told you that when you go for material, you'll have direct material and indirect material. If you go for labor, you will have direct labor and indirect labor. If you have gone for expenses, you will have direct expenses and indirect expenses. So all these indirect things, okay, they are to be clubbed and they are to be divided into three types. Those are nothing but factory overheads, office and administration overheads, and third one is selling and distribution overheads. So, what are the factory overheads? Factory overheads, it refers to those expenses which are incurred in the factory and are concerned with the running of the factory. Whatever it may be, the expenses that we come across in a factory premises, we will call them as factory expenses or works expenses and are concerned with the running of the factory. So, whenever you won't come across these expenses, you cannot run the factory. So, those things we'll call them as factory overheads. Now, office and administration expenses. It includes all the expenses incurred by the administrative staff, administrative office and staff. Okay, mind it that when you are producing a commodity or when you are establishing a manufacturing unit, the factory must be far away from the places of residence. They should be aside. It should be kept aside because you cannot mingle the office and the factory. You cannot keep the factory and the office at one place. You have to keep all the offices, okay, away from the when living areas. Why? There are so many disadvantages when you locate the factory and the office side by side. Okay, first one is pollution, second one is sound. Okay, so when they are making sounds, the residents they cannot stay, they cannot live peacefully. So whatever it may be, the factory, whatever you are having, the factory should be located far away place. So whatever it may be, the expenses that we come across in this administrative office, whatever it may be. Okay, then those things also we have to take into account. Okay, that is nothing but office and administrative overheads. And after that, selling overheads. This is the cost of promoting sales and retaining customers. Okay, selling or I mean overheads. This is the cost of promoting sales. You have to promote the sales. You have to increase the sales. When you want to increase the sales and when you want to keep the customers retained until you produce the commodity, those things are nothing but the selling expenses, selling overheads. Next, distribution overheads. It includes all the expenditure incurred from the time the product is complete until it reaches its destination. Distribution. You see, you are manufacturing your products in your factory. When you are manufacturing, how they will go to the destination, how they will go to the customer. Because for the benefit of the customers only you are manufacturing. When you are going to keep the commodities in your factory without sending them to the customers, to the place of customers, what is the benefit and what is the uses of okay manufacturing or producing? So distribution overheads also you have to take into account in order to make the materials, in order to make the articles, in order to make the commodities reach they reach their ultimate destination, that is the consumers or the customers, whomever it may be. So whatever it may be, the expenses you will receive, you incur, you have to take that as distribution expenses. Whenever you take all these expenses, whenever you mean go for these expenses, all these expenses combinedly will give you the total cost of the commodity that was manufactured from a raw material stage to finished stage. And at what rate, at what price you are selling, that is a secondary issue. At what price you can sell at the same price, at the same cost, thereby you won't get neither profit nor loss. Or if you sell at a higher price, you are going to get a low profit amount. When you are going to sell that at a higher price, naturally you are going to get profit amount. The profit will be increased. So like that, you will come across the difference between sales and total cost or cost of sales. Now, in this context only, I'm going to give you about the cost sheet. What is a cost sheet, sir? Cost sheet is nothing but a statement showing the details of total cost. It is a statement showing the details of the total cost. It shows the total cost as well as different components of the total cost and cost per unit. Cost per unit. This is very, very important in costing. Cost per unit. Okay, how many units you are manufacturing? What is the total cost? First of all, they'll see what is the total cost, and at this total cost, how many units you are manufacturing, and what is the cost per unit. Whenever you come to know about the cost per unit, then it is easy for you to find out the total cost. Cost per unit into number of units will give you the total cost, or total cost divided by cost per unit will give you the number of units. So it is very, very helpful that we have to prepare a statement showing the total cost as well as the different components of the total cost. Now, what is the purpose of this? The purpose is cost sheet serves the following purposes. It reveals the cost of total output and cost per unit, total cost as well as cost per unit. It discloses the breakup of the total cost. It discloses the breakup of the total cost into different components like what is the prime cost, what is the factory cost, what is the office and administration cost, what is the selling and distribution cost. Like that, you can go for breakup, breakup of the cost. And after that, it helps in the preparation of estimates for submission of tenders for contracts of jobs. When you know this total cost and cost per unit, it is easy for us to prepare the estimates for submission of tenders for contracts of jobs. It helps in fixing up the selling price more accurately. When you know the total cost, you can be in a position to fix the selling price. If you are going to sell the commodity at the total cost, there you don't get any profit amount or loss amount. If you just now I told you that if you sell at a higher price, you are going to get profit amount. If you sell at more than, okay, at a higher price, you are going to get the profits, more profits. So it is the next purpose. It helps in fixing up the selling price more accurately. And the last one is, by comparing the current figures with the past results and standard costs, it is possible to detect any leakage or inefficiency requiring attention of the management. When you go for the cost, okay, what is the total cost of this year and what is the total cost of last year? You can compare that, and you can be in a position to know what is the leakage, what is the inefficiency, okay, what is the inefficiency, what is the laggingness, thereby the management people to go for attention of that. Okay, previous year this much cost was incurred, and this year this much cost was incurred. Why the variations are coming? What for? In what case or in what component we have gone wrong? All these things, the management people, they can be in a position to understand. So after this, we are going to study the problematic portion in cost accountancy. Until then,